Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have a few things on the go. I am making homemade lasagna with ricotta cheese that I made myself, so that's very exciting. We had a busy weekend, so now I'm just catching up on laundry and bread making because I make our own bread, so I have to get that going, and I'm gonna start with my sauce for the lasagna. Just came in from outside, cleaning stalls, taking care of the horses, and I already ran my errands, went to the grocery store, did all that this morning. So now I'm going to, it's about lunchtime now, I'm gonna prep my lasagna and get that in the fridge so that I can just throw it in the oven when the kids get home. Let's get started. I like to add the herbs and seasonings while I'm browning the meat. I like using this Kirkland from Costco, the organic marinara sauce. This sauce is our absolute favorite in this family. It's red sauce dishes. Gonna add a little bit of red wine for good measure. And now I'm just gonna let this simmer. So while this simmers, I'm gonna cover it. So while the sauce is simmering, I'm going to fill up my pot with water and put it on to boil so that I can get my lasagna noodles cooked. I like to pre-cook my lasagna noodles because that's just what I've done and what my family does for our recipes. So that's what I'm gonna do. I might just cook them al dente so that they don't get too soggy. While my pasta water is heating up and I'm getting my noodles ready, I just want to show you guys a few things that I got today. I have a newfound, well, I wouldn't say it's newfound, but today I went and bought a few different botanical herbs that I can start making my own little apothecary section in my home. So I'll show you guys what I got today. I got a few different ones to start just at my local health food store, and I'm going to put them in nice jars and keep them in a nice area on display so they look beautiful and all those things. So I picked up, I'll show you what I picked up. I bought some chamomile. So chamomile is really good for calming, and it has a whole bunch of other properties that I will be learning about. I'm going to pick up some books. I have some upstairs, but I think there's one or two that I have recently come across that I would like to purchase to expand upon my knowledge of herbalism. So I got some chamomile, I got some rose hips, I got hibiscus flower. I absolutely love hibiscus tea. I got some raspberry leaf, which is great for women, for PMS and all those types of issues. And some marshmallow root, some lavender flower. I actually have my own lavender, but I didn't harvest any of the flowers. Silly me. So I went ahead and bought some of that. Lavender is one of my favorite herbs to drink in tea form. Some peppermint leaf and some lemon balm leaf. So these are a few to start out my apothecary, if you will, and I will show you guys a little bit about that, or show you what I've got going, and kind of show you plans I have for that area and what my ideas are. Sauce is simmering nicely. Got the water on to boil. I also picked up a new apron today, which I'm very excited about because I have not had an apron for a very long time. I have a apron that is too small that my children use, and I have an apron that is very old and is broken. So I have been in need of an apron for a long time. Finally found one that I like. It's just a nice gray one. So that will help keep my clothes clean, because every time I cook, which is often, with a family of 5, I end up with little stains on my sweaters and my shirts, and most of the time it's from cooking. So now that I have an apron, I won't be abusing my clothes anymore. I'm gonna prep my weekly bread that I make. It's a no-knead bread. It's more like a crusty loaf sort of bread, like an artisan style crusty loaf that I make. My family loves, it's our favorite, and I make it probably once, maybe twice a week, depending on how much we're going through. It does make 2 loaves, so it's super simple. I'm going to show you now how I prep it and just prove to you how easy it can be to make bread from scratch in your kitchen. I've got 3 cups of warm water. You don't want the water to be too warm or you will kill the yeast. So I'm going to put that in my big bowl here. This is a slow rise recipe, so it only calls for half a teaspoon of yeast. So this will take about at least a minimum of 6 hours to rise. You can leave it longer, and you also can, once it has done its initial 5 to 6 hour rise, you can stick it in the fridge, and then it will actually be even better the next day. So you take it out when you're ready to use it, and then you shape your dough, etc. So I'm just mixing up the yeast in the warm water just till it dissolves. Now I'm going to go ahead and add 6.5 cups of all-purpose flour, and then I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of salt. I like using Himalayan salt. I've always used Himalayan salt for all of my cooking and baking needs. And then you're going to stir it with a fork. You can use a spoon. It's totally up to you. This is a no-knead dough. So you're just going to stir it all together. It will be shaggy and sticky, and that is how you want it. That's what it's going to be like. But it's fine if it's sticky. It doesn't really matter. You don't need to overthink it. Although baking is a science, there's definitely room for error when it comes to baking bread. It will just affect its texture and things like rise time. But at the end of the day, if you account for things like that, it will still taste like bread and it will still be delicious. So, no fear baking in this kitchen. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and cover this with a lid and let it sit on the counter. You want it to be hopefully like in a warm space. You don't want it to be too cold. So the water's boiling, so I'm gonna go ahead and get the lasagna noodles into the water, let them cook. I'm pretty sure this is one of the first recipes that I made for my now husband. Would have been my boyfriend at the time. Yeah, so that's kind of funny. So with these lasagna noodles. I don't know if most people do this, but I like to pre-cook them. So while the noodles are cooking, I'm gonna go ahead and get my kitchen tidied up, because there's nothing that I hate more than a messy kitchen. I like to clean as I go, and I like to have a clean and tidy workspace. So I'm gonna go ahead and deal with these dishes in the sink, empty the dishwasher, and get rid of some of this stuff. So for the lasagna, for the recipe from my mom, I'm just going off of memory here, but 2 eggs, we've got ricotta cheese. I'm gonna actually add some goat cheese because I love goat cheese, and then salt and pepper. I believe that her recipe calls for cottage cheese, but I don't have any cottage cheese, so I'm just gonna use the goat cheese in place of that. So we're gonna mix that all together with some spinach. and that will be the cheesy filling for the lasagna. Add in my ricotta cheese that I made from scratch. I'm very proud of myself. Add a little bit of goat cheese. I'm probably gonna add just a little bit of milk or a little bit of heavy cream. See how that turns out here. So when you're cooking, you can be creative in the kitchen. That is all part of the fun. And then I'm going to add in my spinach. The spinach cooks down, so it might seem like a lot, but once it gets cooked in, it's not a lot. And hopefully my children don't protest the spinach. I'm also going to shred some extra old cheddar for the top of the lasagna. So we're going to start layering now. Let's get started. So I have leftover pie crust dough that I have from Thanksgiving. It's been sitting in the fridge and I need to find something to do with it. So I have decided to make a pear galette. I've never made it before, but it looks and sounds delicious, and I believe it's easier to work with than a traditional pie crust. I've also got my oven preheating for my bread, and that's gonna go in the oven to go with dinner, the lasagna that we made earlier, and get that in the oven as well. I'm gonna make some chocolate chip cookies. Recipe that I found online. So it starts with 1 cup of softened butter. Then we're gonna need 1 cup of white sugar and 1 cup of brown sugar. This is as close as I have to brown sugar. So we're just gonna go with it. Then we're gonna cream this. I love brown sugar. That's my favorite. Because of the molasses. Katie, you gonna help me? Hmm? 2 eggs. 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Okay. Get that nice and incorporated. So we're gonna need 3 cups of all-purpose flour. 1 teaspoon of baking soda and half a teaspoon of baking powder. And then 1 teaspoon of salt. I use salted butter, so I'm gonna go a little light on the salt. Okay. That's a big ball of cookie dough. Whoa. Oh my God. Holy Dinah. You got a cookie? Is it good? Mm-hmm. It's yummy. Mm-hmm. Dom, how was the cookie, bud? How's the cookie? Got these sunglasses off Amazon. 3 pairs for 15 bucks. What do you think? What do we think? What do we think, Kate? What do you think of my sunglasses? They're pretty cool. Bubbling. She's pretty. All right, guys, what do you say? What's the verdict for the lasagna? What do you rate out of 10?
10.
10 out of 10. Oh, Sophia, what do you say?
I say it's like a 7.5, 8.
Okay.
8.5.
Ooh, 8.5. What about you, Dad?
12.
Oh my, that's intense.
No, 20.
Get in my belly.